Howdy folks, this is the soap of the day from the grooming department, and I'll have a description on the scent. For me, my nose was picking up a woody green type scent. It's off the puck, that is. I did go ahead and bloom it in my bowl, help bring up the scent. Not that it needed any help, in my opinion, even with my nose. It's just usually with complex scents, I might pick up one or two, and then I know I'm smelling something else, but just not able to pick up what it is. And that's about how hard the puck is. It's not too terribly hard. It's I guess you might say it's definitely not a croak, but it's a firm soap, we'll say. That's what we'll call it. And the shaver of the day is going to be the Bevel. I picked this one up off of eBay. I have a link to the Bevel website. It comes in a box like this. I'm sure some of you have probably already seen some reviews on this, and mine went ahead and came with the blades and the booklet here. I think these usually are retailing right around the $50 mark, and I got mine on eBay, and I think there's still one on eBay for the same price of $25, and this is what it looks like. It's this is a little bit longer handle than, I guess you might say, than what some are accustomed to. This is what the head looks like. You can kind of tell right here, that's how the ends look. And so in other words, there's no overhang of the blade. And the give you an idea what it looks like on the underside. And this is what the end of the handle looks like. So you can kind of see there's a lip right there, and it's going to fit nice and snug right up in there. This post is a bit different than what you might be accustomed to, where typically when we see a post like this, it very much looks like it's a part of the cap here. And this one here, a depth that you'll be able to see it, but there's a you can kind of tell that this post is different. It's not necessarily made in concert with the rest of the cap, and thought that was interesting. Thought I'd point that out. I'm going to use a feather blade today, and when I was skimming over the instructions that came with the razor, a lot of it follows what a person might consider the traditional wet shaving kind of thought process. Alright, there's that, the cap. Place it right there on top. Base plate right over the top of that, and there you go. Pretty easy, and that is a very snug fit. There's no wiggle, no adjustment for the blade. It just loads up perfect. I used an older blade and kept on working with it. In other words, couldn't find anything wrong with it. Loads just fine. And excuse me, going back to some of the instructions that are in with the booklet, I was just skimming over it. It even mentions, for instance, mapping your beard growth, the direction that it grows. And I know it's really geared towards people that have get real bad irritation or ingrown hairs. That's how this razor was, what it was geared for. And it mentions about subscribing to the thought that don't shave against the grain. That your strokes, your pattern of shaving should be with the grain. Now, I don't have quite that kind of issue with irritation or ingrown hairs, but I've heard this, this thought that against the grain may not be the best thing for some folks, and that maybe a couple of across the grains. And it mentions, if I remember correctly, about going a full month, 4 weeks of, guess you might say, a single pass shave. And it mentions that if you get done with your one pass shave, that if I'm reading this right, remembering it correctly, that if you feel like you got some pickups, that you go ahead and try again, I guess you might say. I've already taken the bloom water, put it to my face, hot towel, my usual routine, and I've got it whipped up here, and this had to use a Cerabachi bowl. And this particular brush is, and I don't know if you'll be able to see it, I do not know how to pronounce that. YAQI, I'm not real sure how you pronounce it. If you've been on Facebook and whatnot, Grace has posted on several of the groups there, they're showing what they have in a way of shaving brushes. This one here I've had for a moment, and I don't know if you can tell or not, but that's the Cashmere knot. Looks really nice. This handle kind of styles, in case you might say, for me, is a pretty nice handle. It's easy to grab a hold of, and this soap was pretty easy to whip lather up with. The one thing I did notice though is that this soap will take some water. Scent just rolls right on off of here. I'm going to shave with this razor on Monday, and I have intentions of go ahead and doing a video on it with it. When it comes to blades, it recommends that you don't use a blade any more than 2 times. Keep the blade fresh, as well as don't go any more than, I guess you might say, skipping a day shaving. A lot of the stuff that it mentions in there pretty much kind of falls in line with my thought process, with my experience, what my needs are. Like I said, this is really geared for those poor guys that's gets really bad ingrown hairs and gets irritation really easy. I'm not quite like, I don't fall in that category, but I'm going to go ahead and give this razor a whirl and see what it's like. Starting out with a feather. Another reason why I'm going to shave with it on Monday is that I definitely get more than one shave out of my feather blades. Yeah, I definitely get I think it was Cypress, a woodsy smell, and at first I thought maybe I was also picking up some green grass, and that's just my nose. It also will show you how to start out using one of these razors. Putting it flat to the face and then move it to 30 degrees. A lot of the stuff that most of us learn right from the get-go, watching videos and other people doing instructional videos on how to use this type of razor. I guess you might say, in my opinion, looking over the manual, does a pretty good job laying it out for somebody that's brand new, starting out. Especially somebody, face it, this is not the majority shaver's way of shaving. And having an instruction booklet like that was a really good idea. Realize realizing that the majority of, especially the States, they don't shave with a DE razor or an injector or single edge. It goes on. It has picked up. You can just kind of tell, as goes for how it's picked up in the over the short period of time that I've been wet shaving. The DE blades and the single edge blades, what's been popping up in the stores. In other words, there for a while, I never really, excuse me, and that's here locally where I'm at, seeing Gillette blades in a store, as goes for double edge, you didn't see them. And this past Christmas, saw them at Walgreens. Came in a pack of 3 instead of 5, but at least they were there. My ears just popped. My sinuses are still giving me fits. Well, this is pretty thick. I say thick. This is very, I guess you might say, rich and creamy. Creamy lather. This is pretty nice. It's the first time I've used this soap, even from the grooming department. It's pretty nice. Tomorrow, guess I'll go ahead and do this. Got this soap by the way of a gentleman on Instagram. I guess I'll just tease you and we'll continue on Monday shave. And this is the brush I got from him, along with that soap. And this is, boy, this brush is really nice. This is a beautiful brush. He restores vintage brushes. Matter of fact, I guess it'd be about 1.5 years ago, maybe. Matter of fact, I'm pretty sure I got my first vintage brush from him also, as it came with my Schick injector. He's on Instagram. They say I'll set all this up for tomorrow and link how you can follow him on Instagram. You have to look at all of his postings on what he's done restoring these brushes, these vintage brushes. Very nice job. Right there for me has always been a, how can you say, a tricky spot. That's my spot that if I don't pay careful attention to, I will get irritation there. It will happen. It's been like that for years. I would have to say with a feather blade, it's still a fairly smooth shave. Telltale sign would probably be against the grain, but usually across the grain will give me an indication of how a shaver is. And it seems to be fairly efficient. There's not, in other words, with the against the grain pass, it's probably going to pick up whatever's left, which is not really a whole lot. At least not what I'm feeling. Sometimes I wonder if a razor gets all the good press that it deserves. I realize this handle is different. Some may prefer a shorter handle, and I haven't tried. Matter of fact, I think I'll do that and put it in my video tomorrow. What it would take to swap out the handle. Let's say if you're looking for a different kind of handle, maybe one that's got knurling on it, and perhaps even shorter. Yeah, I think I'll do that. See if the threads match up or not, and how well it fits up there in that base plate. busy day yesterday. Might be a wee bit busy today too. At least it's supposed to shape up to be that way. It also recommends not to speed shave. That you should shave, take your time and enjoy it. Said that's the source of irritation, is speed shaving. I'm sure that once again that your mileage may vary type thing. I've noticed that while I'm shaving sometimes, I have a camera that's on a tripod that's over the top of the sink and it points right back at me. So I am looking on one side a lot of times while I'm shaving to get around the camera. It does have a screen that you can flip around and face towards you, which that's what I have right now. But that screen for my eyes is not the biggest in the world. So in other words, the camera and the mirror, I guess you might say they don't always play nice. So I'm surprised that I don't find myself moving more towards being off the camera. But so far I've been pretty good. Still smell the soap. This scent may not be for everyone. If you should look for it on because I don't think it's offered up on the website anymore, but on a buy, sell, trade type thing, you may it's a I guess you might call it a bright scent. Bright in the way of being woodsy. Like I said, for me, I was more of I was picking up the wood, but it seemed like to me maybe it was a lot of the what I would call a grass scent, and I don't know what that is that I am smelling that gives me that that kind of impression of what it is. Like I say, my nose. Yeah, with my nose. I know how my nose is. Some days when I'm smelling and I ask my wife and she'll come up with something totally different and get that wet. I know my nose is not the best in the world. And I did use a feather blade, and we'll see how tomorrow's shaves go. But yeah, right there. Yeah, there's definitely some stinging right there. In other words, the choice of blade, especially if somebody that has issues with irritation and whatnot, may not want to use a feather blade. Something that's, I guess you might say, a little bit more on the milder, tamer side of things. Outside of that was it on the stinging, which I kind of figured might be right there with the feather blade. Depending on the shaver, whether or not I get much stinging right there, because they did. It's a pretty efficient razor. It took some hair off. Talking about a pretty close shave. I think that's how they designed it, because if you're talking about doing a one-pass shave, you're going to have a pretty efficient shaver. With my beard, I don't think I might get through the first half of the day without looking too bad, but that 5 o'clock shadow, oh, I would definitely have it by 5 o'clock, because I'm usually shaving right around between 4 and 5 in the mornings on the weekdays. So yeah, that's definitely to have that 5 o'clock shadow. Wasn't sure what to use with this. At one point in time I thought I was smelling eucalyptus. At any rate, that I would use something a little bit on the menthol side, and decided that it's been a while since I've used the Pacific Rush. And I looked at their website, and I saw a thread which got me to wondering, they still have the green one on their website, but they don't have the Pacific Rush. Brisk, in other words. I got it over here. Which kind of gets you to wondering if they did away with this one for whatever reason, or that I just couldn't find it. Wouldn't think it'd be that tough for me to find. Kind of felt with the what I was picking up with the scent on this soap that felt like it went with it. Besides the fact I was looking for something that have a cooling effect on my face this morning. I like that kind of feel. Something light, cool. For me, it makes my face feel good. It ain't expensive. Got this at Dollar General. When I got this, $1.75. I got like 4 bottles. 2 of this one and 2 of the Brisk. Had a great shave. This is... Glad I decided already I'm going to shave with this one on Monday. This is a pretty nice shaver. Hope everybody's doing well. Stay safe and smooth shaves to you.